Hey, it's Derek. Welcome to the hill. Picking up where we left off last week, I got about 50 yards that I plan on clearing out this week. We got to dig more on the left-hand side of the trail, so I'm probably averaging 6 to 8 foot of digging on the left-hand side and getting that dirt moved over to the right-hand side and grading it out. There's a couple large trees that I got to clear this week in that 50 yards. I got to dig up behind one of them and push it over because it's large and it's leaning uphill. And the other one I can just probably get by doing from the side. After I push them over and they're laying across the road, I'll show you how I process them safely to get them out of my way and to stump them off and to be able to get the root balls out. Fall is officially here, my favorite time of year. We're right in the early stages of it here in mid-October. It hasn't really cooled down a whole lot. We were getting in the low 40s once or twice a week, and we're still in the mid 70s during the day for the most part. But I really look forward to all the trees changing and it getting a little bit cooler. Once you come with me in this first section, we're going to process the first tree. Let's get digging. First, I have to start This is the first tree that we have to take out today. Pretty big one. It's leaning uphill just a little bit, so we need to be aware of that and dig on it from the backside and push it over down the hill this way. A couple things to go over here. I got to put some diesel in the Kubota. Almost ran out of diesel fuel getting that last tree pushed over, and as you can tell, I've stopped trying to bring the trailer with the transfer tanks all the way down here. It's just I don't have a good turnaround spot yet, and it takes a long time, so I've been using this little 14-gallon transfer tank. It's just a lot easier to fill up the Kubota with. I just pushed that big tree over. It's laying across the trail. I got to sharpen a chainsaw. We're going to use the Stihl 880, MS 880 with a 30-inch bar on it. And it actually has a square file chain on it. Like a typical chain, the cutting length is curved, and you use a round file to file it and sharpen it. It has a flat top edge on it and then kind of a curve like that. A square file chain comes up like this and has a more aggressive cutting edge. It's also more difficult to sharpen, hand sharpen. A lot of people use a machine to do it. I'm gonna fill this up with diesel, and then we're gonna sharpen the chain, and I'll show you how to hand square file a chain. I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but I always put too much bar oil in the reservoir on my chainsaw and make a mess. I've been doing it my whole life, still do it. I need to work on that. So this transfer tank has a pump handle to get it started, but I always place the transfer tank above whatever I'm filling up, so it just uses gravity to siphon the fuel out of it. You got to remember to loosen up the cap at the top of it to allow it to have good airflow. After we get diesel put on the Mini X, sharpen the chain, I'm going to walk you through how to clear this down tree that still has the root ball attached to it. It's a decently hard cut. It's not the most dangerous cut, but depending on where the root ball is, it can still roll and shift on you a little bit. I'll show you my technique for clearing those so you don't get your saw cut up in the tree that you're trying to cut, because that always adds time to whatever you're doing, and it's not very efficient. If I run up on that scenario, I always use some sort of axe and wedge combination to, once I make my initial cut, to keep the tree spread a little bit until I can see which way it's actually starting to shift. If it's starting to squeeze back on itself, I'm going to remove the bar and start the cut from the opposite direction. Let's get to filling this thing up. One of the other things you have to deal with transporting diesel and storing diesel is it's highly susceptible to water. And it's a good idea to have a filtration system, a water filter on your transfer tank to make sure that you're not getting water built up in your diesel system, because it doesn't like to run like that. And also they put different additives in diesel in the winter versus the summer. So if you don't use a lot of diesel and store it, don't fill up, if you have a 100-gallon tank, don't fill it up 100 gallons, because you need to get the winter type diesel for the winter so it doesn't gel on you. The square filed tooth, you have the tooth itself. This center part right here is called the gullet, and this is a raker. We're going to use 3 tools: a round file, a square edge file, so it actually has an angle on the edges. Probably can't see that, and a raker guide. So after we get done trimming the tooth, we got to trim the raker down. So we're going to start where the chains join together, which is right here on this one. This is a square tooth chisel skip link ripping chain. So this has a yellow link, and it is not anti-kickback or anything. This is a full-on ripping chain. When you start getting chains like this, they do have a tendency to kick back more. They don't kick back as much on the larger chainsaws as they do on the smaller bars. I'm going to cut that at about a 45-degree angle down and 30-degree angle from the top of, looking down at the top of the bar. We go 30-degree angle, and then about a 45-degree angle from the tooth edge down to the bottom to keep that angle working good. I'm going to put a pair of gloves on. So with this tree, it's propped up right here. There's a clear cut area right here, and it's still covered up with dirt up by the root ball. So I'm gonna focus on making a couple cuts down here, then getting the excavator in, clearing out this area up here and stumping it. But I'll get this root ball out of the way and make the cut to get the big part of the tree down there to fall. So that's kind of what the goal is first. I'm going to make this cut right here first because it looks the safest. Decompression valve. So right away on this one, it already started popping or lifting. So that means there's a whole lot of pressure on it down there. So I'm gonna go make a cut a little bit further down first because I need to get that tension off of there a little bit. Not safe over here. So you can't really ask for it to go better than that right there. It doesn't always happen that easy, but I'm going to show you these two cuts right here. This one, you can see it's still attached, but I went really slow down through that cut and gave it time for the tree's weight to slowly creep it down to get all the weight down at the end that was just hanging out over the hill down there. I wanted to slowly set the tree down. So once I brought this one down and took the pressure off of this one right here, I was able to just make a clean cut right through that one, which is exactly what I wanted to do. And so now the only thing really left to do, that's a super clean cut right there. I mean, that's about as lucky as you can get. Only thing to do now is to get the Mini X, get this dirt moved out of the way, get these stumps moved, get dug out underneath this so I can stump this and then push the stump out. And then we have 30 or 40 yards to our next tree, which we should be able to get through today. There's just some big old trees down here. So we got these two trees right there. I'm just going to clear the honeysuckle out of this, and that's a big old tree right there, but it's already leaning pretty good and it's leaning downhill. I think I should be able to get it dropped pretty easily. I'm going to stump this tree down here on the right. I'm just going to cut it and fell it to the right. That big one, fell it to the right, but leave the stump in the ground and build up over top of it. And then I got 50 more yards till the next big tree. So I think we're about ready to start speeding up a little bit, which I'm excited about. I gotta say, I'm pretty excited. Usually this takes a lot longer to get this part done. This tree came down really quick this morning in the grand scheme of things, and I figured I was going to be out here for 6 to 8 hours getting through this one little section. It doesn't always go smooth, but when it does, I'm pretty thankful of it. Like I said, beautiful fall day. The temperature's probably in the mid 50s right now. Just gorgeous out. Get out, experience life a little bit, get living. Don't just sit on the couch, think about how bored you are, or that you need to find something to do, or you don't want to do just your regular chore list around the house. Find a little bit of joy in what you're doing and what your goals are, and go after them a little bit. It might just be me having an overwhelming desire to do manual labor out in the middle of the woods. Nobody else is going to do it, and if I paid somebody, I mean, somebody else would do it. If I paid somebody to do it, it's $125 an hour, and they do it their way. They don't do it my way, and not that my way is correct, but the finished product will be how I want it because I got the rest of my life to make it that way. I guess today I feel blessed to be out here doing something I enjoy doing, getting to see some progress. Like I say, not every day of my life I get to see progress and see that what I work for is actually achieving something, and I'm sure most people are like that. Just feeling pretty good.